4 years of living in Jeollanam-do province, the most rural province of South Korea. My tiny little countryside town has accommodated me since summer 2016, and I am sad to say that I am now leaving to return home. I am going to miss my little town, the people, and my favourite local hangout spots. I admit to having a pretty bad memory. I'm afraid that I will forget certain aspects of my life here, a place where I grew and experienced life-changing things. So after a suggestion by my dad, I decided to take a video tour of my town that I can look back on to remember how frustrated I used to get at the lack of city-related things like cosmetic stores and chain supermarkets, but also be reminded of the fun rural times that allowed me to experience South Korea in a way most others don't. This is also a good opportunity to show those who may be worried about moving to a rural town what there is to offer. This is Yongam-gun. I will be doing a lot of voiceover today, as it's currently the height of Korean summer and very hot. You do not want to see me sweat to death on camera. Believe me. I'm going to start coming out of school. Luckily, my town has its own national park, Wolcheolsan, and you can see it wherever you are. I've always loved seeing what the mountain looks like every morning and afternoon on my way into and from work. I have adopted this mountain to be my own, and this is the #1 thing that I will miss from my town. Because my town is fairly dainty, I only have to walk 10 minutes to get home. On the way, I don't pass a whole lot, a few local businesses, mostly involving farming or produce. At this roundabout, the road straight leads up to my apartment building, situated just at the top of the hill. I am right on the edge of downtown Yongam. The quickest way is to take the first road to the left by my building and follow it downtown. Now we get to see more businesses. Here is a local gym I used to go to in my first couple of years, until I got lazy and preferred to go hiking. I won't go inside because I owe the lady who owns it a very good explanation for my lack of attendance. Moving on. Convenience stores are dotted around for times when you want to snack, which for me is a lot. Opposite, we have a pharmacy and a few local restaurants, including one of the many fried chicken places. Fried chicken is extremely popular here, so you'll see them everywhere. This is one of the few drinking places which sell mostly beer and soju. Here is what we call the 5-way meeting spot, as there are 5 roads that lead to various points of downtown Yongam. Road #1 leads to the post office. Road 2 I just came down from. Road 3 has a stationery store. This also leads to a main road where there is a library for those studying students, a church, and more apartments. Road 5 is a little alleyway where there are PC bangs, a noraebang, and a few restaurants. My favourite samgyeopsal place is this way, and I also jokingly call this the student road. Road 4 is the main downtown road. You will find all sorts here, and the shops are constantly changing. Convenience stores, local restaurants, hair shops, dollar stores, pharmacies, phone shops, local doctors, dentists, and banks. It's fun to explore all of these local places, except for the dentist. Nobody wants to go to the dentist. Although there aren't as many options as a big city, certain places become your go-to for certain things. Cafe Benny is my go-to if I want to take a laptop to do some work in a cafe. Hong Kong coffee shop, which means Family Bean, is our go-to hangout spot. Here we can chat, play games. 1 and 6 is our go-to for bingsu or waffles. Damn, they do some good waffles. Rice Story is the closest we will get to Western food. Meanwhile, the Gymnasium is my go-to for an assortment of Korean food. I always order the kimchi jjigae here. Here is another local mart. They honestly see me in here multiple times a week, I won't lie. The dollar store where I usually buy my rubbish bags and other little household bits. This pizza place is the holy grail. The owners are a little too familiar with us. I'll turn right here, which leads to the main road. Here there is a sports track where I go to run or walk in the evenings. Behind are tennis courts and a swimming pool. Further down the road is an NH supermarket, the farmer's market, which I like to call it, where you'll get a lot of locally grown produce. There is also another store right next to my school, which is very convenient. At the end of this road is Yongam Bus Terminal. It's very old, as you can tell. Here I can get local buses to Mokpo, or small towns close by, or the express bus to Gwangju. Schedules are posted on the walls, and we have to check them often as they do tend to change. On the main road, if I cross here, there is a hospital. Further down this road are multiple apartment blocks too. I used to live in this building during my first year living in Yongam. Continuing up the main road, you will find a sports gymnasium where volleyball is played often. Schools usually gather here once a year to compete against each other. Opposite is an entrance to my national park. I can hike up or take a couple of walking trails to the left and to the right. I regularly walk these trails after work for some exercise and for some peace and quiet. This path leads to a place called Gitchenland, which is a park for our local mountain. There are traditional houses here, museums and restaurants and cafes. This is only a few minutes from my school, so school dinners tend to be held here. In the summertime, this fills up with natural spring water and we all go in for a dip. Unfortunately, this year, due to coronavirus, this was not possible. Opposite is the other NH Mart, and then we are back to my school. Did I miss anything? I can walk just about anywhere in my town. There is never traffic, very few road accidents. I can get a local bus that goes to Mokpo, which stops off in one of the smaller towns close by. There are huge amounts of traditional villages and museums here which are wonderful to walk around. In a small town, people tend to come and go quite often, especially young people. I have made some good Korean friends here, but who have eventually moved away due to work or family issues. Native teachers come and go too, as contracts are usually yearly, so you kind of get used to saying hello and goodbye to people. People here are curious to know what you're doing in such a small town, so they're more likely to approach you in conversation. I've hung out and gone drinking with Korean people that didn't necessarily speak any English because they wanted to show off a local place or just get to know you. You may not necessarily see them again afterwards, but makes for good memories. These rural towns are always growing. They have continually built more and more in the 4 years that I have been here. New apartment buildings, restaurants, shops, cafes, and it will continue to grow. I do know of rural towns that do have things like e-marts and Daisos. I honestly don't know if you can get more rural than Yongam. I have never wanted to transfer outside of Yongam in my 4 years here because I just love the tranquility of it all. And I love traveling around, so I don't mind getting on a bus and heading to see something or do something somewhere else. In fact, living rural meant that I got the bus system down pretty fast here. I am extremely confident in my skills of getting around Korea using public transport. Doesn't matter what it is, a bicycle, a bus, a taxi, a train. Whether it's a big city, a small town, the countryside, the beach, a mountain, got it down. Thank you, rural Korea. I even took those skills to Japan and went for it using local transport because I knew if I could crack it in Korea, I could crack it anywhere. Please feel free to ask me any questions in the comment section down below about rural Korea or coming to Korea in general. I also have a tour of my apartment and a rural supermarket tour if you want to check those out, if they would be useful to any of you. And yeah,